It's time to stop making excuses. If you're thinking that it's too late for you to save up for retirement, then you're thinking wrong. In today's episode, I'll show you just how small, consistent habits can help reach any FIRE goal if you just put your mind to it. There's a saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. It's not the most exciting topic, just like losing weight, but there's really no get rich quick scheme when it comes to saving for retirement. No, buying a lottery ticket or waiting for an inheritance or windfall is not a sound retirement plan. If you're watching this and you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and you're thinking, well, it's too late for me, unfortunately, here is some honest truth. Yes, starting out later in life means you've missed probably decades of good compounding growth. But dwelling on the past is not going to help. What matters is what you do now. So the formula is simple. You spend less than you make, but it is a lot easier said than done. This week, I'm going to show you how we can make savings possible through the use of a spending plan, otherwise known as a budget. Once you have a budget, then you'll know how much money you have coming in, how much is going out, and then what line items to prioritize, what line items to deprioritize. So then you'll find money to save and then stick to the plan. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to look at our spreadsheet. These are resources that I'll put a link in the description. I apologize if the video is a little bit off than the audio. For some reason, when I was recording the screen share, it did not capture my voice. In any case, there's three tabs on this spreadsheet. So there is the monthly budget sheet, there is a goals tracker, and then this retirement calculator. And you should be able to see what your projected savings rate would be if you plug in some of the numbers. Of course, these sheets are very simple. There's not, for example, in the retirement calculator, there's not accounting for taxes or fluctuations in the returns, right? There's only like returns. And there's two versions of the spreadsheet. One has like the formulas in text, and the other one has the numbers in dollar format. And so I'll put both of them in the description. So to look at an example, we're going to look at Mochi's budget spreadsheet, and assuming that he's making a certain amount of money every month, let's say $100, and then he has YouTube side hustle, which makes him $50. So he's bringing in $150 a month, and he's paying us rent for $25, spending $40 on groceries, on cat food, basically. Maybe once in a while he gets a grooming and it's like $15, right? But that's not necessarily a must, that's like a want. So in our budget, we do kind of a similar thing too, where we segregate must spend and want to spend. And another thing would be cat toys. So cat toys are not necessarily a necessity. So that would fall under the wants category. One thing that is not maybe super clear on this spreadsheet, and something that we do have in our budget, is a line item for tithing. We believe in giving back 10% to God through our local church, through tithes. That is a biblical concept that we strongly believe in, and that every time my husband and I get paid, we give back 10%. So, that might not be for everybody, but for us, that is what we believe in. On the next tab is the goals tracker. And in here, I have the example of uh, Mochi saving for a scratch and post. And let's say it's $200, right? And he's already saved $20 and he's contributing $5 towards it. So it would take him roughly 36 more payments to come up with the $200 that we can buy him a new scratch and post. But this gives you that visual to see how much that is. And here's also a projected retirement savings calculator for Mochi. He's only 5 years old, right? As a cat, it's pretty young. And not sure exactly how long Siberian cats live, but let's say he lives, for 20 more years, hopefully. And he's saving $50 a month. At the end of that 20 years, he's going to have $29,000, which is quite a sizable amount for a cat of his age. More toys and more cat treats for him probably during his retirement years. So, which is awesome. Anyway, hopefully, this is a good demonstration of how to use these resources, which we'll share in the description. And hopefully, this will be useful to somebody to at least give them an idea on how to do a budget, how to calculate for what a potential retirement saving could look like, and how to save for certain financial goals.
Now that we've gone through a budget, I will say that the math matters. For example, if you're 45 years old and you have 20 years left till retire, if you're saving $500 a month, you'll end up with roughly $295,000 if your investments return about an 8% rate. If you add in Social Security, and let's assume you're getting $2,000 a month for that, and using the 4% rule, you'll roughly get $3,000 a month in retirement. Is that a luxurious retirement? Unfortunately, not really, but it is livable, especially if you don't have any consumer debt and you have a paid off house. To conclude this episode, here's some practical advice for those late starters. There's 6 strategies you can leverage to maximize your retirement savings. Number 1, save aggressively now. As we just started 2026, now is the best time to start on that savings plan. And now is the best time to save aggressively. The second strategy is delaying Social Security if you can. Delaying that does increase the amount of money that you'll get from Social Security every month, and that could help. But that does mean that you'll need to make your savings work more for you. The third strategy is working a few extra years. Maybe delaying retirement is an option so that you can stretch those dollars further. Strategy number 4 would be to consider part time work in retirement. Any amount of money that you bring in will only help augment the money that you have to spend for retirement. Strategy number 5, if you're able to pay off your mortgage, consumer debt, credit card debt, that will go a long way to bringing down the expense that you have every month that you have to pay for out of your retirement savings. Finally, downsizing strategically can also be a good option for people who want to stretch those dollars even further, whether that's going down to a smaller home potentially, or maybe even considering relocating where your dollars can go further. The bottom line is stop comparing yourself to people who started saving at 25. Comparing yourself will do nothing. In 15 years, you'll either have a retirement or a nest egg, or you won't. The only guarantee that you won't is not to start. So it's not too late, but it does require some urgency and some discipline. Again, the best time to plant the tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. And so if you start saving now, in 10 to 15 years, your future self will be incredibly grateful that you've started now, rather than waiting another year, another 5 years, or another decade. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.